This right here is going to be a video on playing MMORPGs solo. Solo WoW 2026. If you play WoW solo, you are going to love
If
2026.
you prefer to play WoW on your own these days, you're not.
I will say, I think this is going to be centered around retail, by the way, but I think we can also try to, talk about the mindset here of why this is happening. If you play retail, you probably will, seeing that they are catering more and more to single-player gameplay at the moment, and if you play Classic as well, you've probably realized, and some Classic Andy is gonna hate me for this, but, a lot of people play Classic as if it is a single-player game, and other players are simply NPCs that are there to help them on their journey. Everyone is suffering from a main character syndrome right now, where you are the main character and everybody else is just there to be part of your journey. Everyone is trying to hard reserve items all the time. It's gotten to the point where I do a dead mines on a regular PvE server, not even the hardcore server, and somebody is trying to hard reserve Cruel Barb. It's not about the people anymore, it's about you, your progression, and you getting the loot that you want. Even in Classic, but retail, they are actually giving us systems that are more meant for single-player gameplay, and I honestly think that's great, because, not everybody has the time or the social connections to, make a raid, or even M+ in retail either, so having delves, for example, to be a bite-sized dungeon-ish content style that you can do on a daily or weekly basis, honestly, I like it. I think delves still have a little bit way to go to become great content. They're honestly not super fun, but they're pretty alright.
Alone.
That's fine. I like playing with myself. I play with myself all day long.
And the good news is, the game has quietly become fantastic for solo players. Blizzard keeps adding systems that you can enjoy entirely at your own pace, with no pressure, no timers, and no need for a group at all. And nothing shows this better than our first example. Player housing has only just launched in World of Warcraft, and already it feels like one of the biggest features the game has ever added. Every time I open Facebook or YouTube, I see people proudly sharing the houses they've built. Full tours, custom layouts, themed rooms. It's seeming like Blizzard are onto a winner so far. Players were starving for something like this, and now it's here. The community is obsessed. And honestly, I can genuinely see a huge portion of players logging in purely for this system. Not for raiding, not for mythics, and not for PvP, but simply to make their home on plot of land nicer, piece by piece. I've dipped my toes into the housing, and even though my creativity skills are zero, every now and then I can tell I will get lost in it. I can see why so many people are going to be obsessed. One thing that I have enjoyed is going through the Alliance neighbourhoods. I've been through the Alliance and I've been through the Horde, but the Alliance one is absolutely stunning. But what really makes player housing perfect for solo play is how accessible it is. It doesn't require fast reactions, quick thinking, perfect rotations, or the pressure of time mythics or PvP. This is a part of the game that anyone can enjoy, whether you're a casual player, someone returning after years away, or just someone who wants something cozy and creative to work on. And Blizzard made sure that collecting decor ties into every playstyle. You can earn it from quests, raids and dungeons, reputations, achievements, professions, events, and sadly, the cash shop. So whether you're a casual explorer, a collector, a crafter, a raider, or someone who plays 30 minutes at night, there's always something for you to chase for your home. Player housing isn't just a new feature, it's the foundation for an entirely new, solo-friendly way to play WoW, and it's already become one of the most loved systems that Blizzard's ever introduced. When the War Within launched in 2024, Blizzard introduced Delves, bite-sized adventures tailored for one player, endlessly repeatable and designed to give you actual progression without needing a full party if you didn't want to group with 2 to 5 players. Delves weren't just another feature thrown in, they were a statement that solo players matter.
I honestly think that player housing has been great so far, by the way, and I just love how it's, because some people said that they don't like how it's a feature that doesn't give them anything, it doesn't give you any edge in raiding, no PvE, no PvP, and they were like, oh, why interact with this system when I don't get anything from it? And I have the approach of, that is honestly what makes it great. that if you only want to raid, you don't have to do housing. If you only want to do PvP, you don't have to do housing. If you don't want to level, you don't have to do housing. It is a completely optional piece of the game that you can interact with if you want to interact with it. And honestly, I think that is probably what makes it so good as well. The second you have a system like that and attach it to player power, people suddenly do it because they have to, not because they want to. WoW needs more things in the game that you want to do because you simply want to do it, not because you have to. Meanwhile, you have delves. They could have been something like that, but then they tied them to the weekly vault, and now you suddenly have to do them instead of wanting to do them. Meanwhile, delves were always meant for player power anyways. It's a bit of a different example, but you get the point.
And that the players who love the world, the lore, and the gameplay, but don't necessarily want to push mythics or compete in PvP, deserve a meaningful pathway to gear. What makes delves so good is how flexible they are. You can log in for 10 minutes or an hour, you can play at your own pace, experiment with builds.
Honestly, I think delves have been pretty alright. I think they should be slightly better than they currently are, and maybe even try to incorporate some raid mechanics into delves to make delves be a learning curve for raids later down the line. Because right now it just seems like delves are, they have their own separate mechanics for you to deal with that don't really have anything to do with the expansion at all. Delves should just be a way for you to play the game single player, like solo, but I think it should teach you something about the game at the same time. So for example, have seasonal delves that uses the raid mechanics or some sort of Mythic Plus mechanics. For example, give it one or two of the Mythic Plus affixes of the week and put it into the delve, so they learn how to deal with those mechanics in the delve as well. Just to like give it some sort of flow. Be like, you do delves, you learn things, but you can do it single player, and then later when you do M+, suddenly you have a little bit more knowledge going into Mythic Plus because you have played the delves, so they kind of synergize with each other, and same thing with raids as well. I did like delves. I think they're a solid probably 7 out of 10. They do have their problems, and that one right there is one of the problems. I feel like you just do delves to do delves. There's no grander there's no overarching goal to doing it other than getting gear.
Or just smash through mobs without waiting on a tank or a healer. They scale with you, reward you consistently, and most importantly, Blizzard treated them like real progression. For the first time in WoW's history, players who prefer to fly solo could earn endgame relevant gear on their own terms. And now heading into midnight in 2026, we're all hoping that Blizzard takes everything that worked in War Within and perfects it. More variety, more difficulty levels, more boss encounters, more reasons to jump back in. Delves have the potential to become the backbone of solo play, a system that sits alongside dungeons and raids, not beneath them. If Blizzard builds on what they started, Midnight could easily become the best expansion for solo players who want to gear up and progress without relying on anyone else. For solo adventurers, Delves are the ideal choice of content. Simple to jump in, satisfying to complete, and rewarding enough to feel like the endgame. In 2024 they arrived, in 2026 they might just be perfected. If delves represent the future of instant solo progression, then Midnight introduces something just as important for the open world: the prey system.
Let me read this comment, by the way. Honestly, for the first couple of months of the War Within, I really enjoyed the solo queue rated battlegrounds and open world PvP. I'm not even that good, but I felt like I could hold my own and actually contribute in battlegrounds and so on. After a couple of weeks, though, the solo queue battleground queue times went from 5 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes, so it quickly became a waste of time, and the rest of the game to kill time just felt a bit pointless in surface level mobile game style. True. Yeah, true. I don't PvP much, but I can see that being a thing. The same thing happened to me as well, even though I don't PvP much, I did dabble into it, and I basically I queued up for that while doing world quests in between, which worked out while I had world quests to do, so like for 1 or 2 queues, but once I ran out of world quests, I just ended up queuing for 20 minutes and wasting my time doing nothing. Just standing AFK, basically.
Once you've selected a target, you don't drop into an instance or get funneled into a single activity. You continue your travels through the zones as you normally would, questing, exploring, and playing the game, while a hunt unfolds around you. Along the way, you'll interact with prey-specific mechanics, or unique world quests, all tied into tracking your target, and crucially, the system is designed to be unpredictable. You won't always know when or how you'll encounter your prey. It might take a chain of discoveries, a sudden event, or an unexpected moment, and sometimes your prey might find you first.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man. They're up against the
Oh no.
Holy Mother God.
As you progress, the system unlocks 3 difficulty levels: normal, hard,
Honestly, having played the Midnight Beta, I haven't interacted much with the prey system, but it looks really cool. It both looks and sounds really cool, and yeah, I can't wait to play around with it. Hopefully, there are some ways that I can kind of abuse the system to get more reputation as well, by, for example, doing additional world quests, like he said, or get additional rewards, but we'll see. Hopefully there's a reason to interact with the system, is what I'm trying to say.
and nightmare.
Because it has to be based on the risk versus reward. If you put on prey and you add additional risk to your gameplay, there has to be a reward for it, and that reward has to feel, well, rewarding.
On normal difficulty, the hunt takes place fully in the outdoor world, and other players can come to your aid if they happen to be nearby. It keeps the experience accessible, flexible, and perfect for casual solo play. But once you move into hard and nightmare, the system changes significantly. At these high difficulties, your target gains additional abilities known as torments, making both the hunt itself and the final encounter far more demanding.
Okay.
And when it comes for the final fight, there are no raid groups and no large-scale zerging. You, and at most a small group of friends, are on your own. That design choice is important. Prey isn't trying to replace raids
Not the Game of Thrones. No way.
or Mythic Plus. It's offering something different: structured, high-stakes outdoor encounters that reward preparation, awareness, and mastery, without turning into organized group content. For solo-focused players, this makes the prey system a perfect companion to Dells. Instant challenges on one side, dynamic open-world hunts on the other, both designed to scale with your ambition rather than your social availability.
How can I help you? Yes, we have availability on those nights. How many in your party?
If Blizzard gets this right, Midnight won't just support solo play, it will evolve it. Leveling in World of Warcraft probably isn't for everyone.
This sounds pretty cool. To be fair, it really does, yeah. It sounds really cool. The prey system does sound really cool, it just has to be rewarding enough to be worth doing. Because if it isn't rewarding enough, then nobody does it, and if it is rewarding enough, then everybody does it. And you want to have a world where people actually interact with the system that Blizzard puts time and effort into making. The only thing that kind of worries me about everything that I've been listening to so far in the video is if the game becomes too much single player. It's the World of Warcraft. There has to be a reason to make friends, to be in a guild. Raids needs to be relevant, and like, yeah, they might be taking the multiplayer away from the MMORPG.
Some players want to rush to max level as fast as possible. Some see it as something to get through, not something to enjoy. But as a solo player, leveling has always been one of the parts of WoW I've loved the most. It's quiet, it's self-paced, and it's where the world feels most alive. Leveling is the one part of the game where you're not chasing efficiency or competing with anyone else. You're moving through zones, following stories, discovering corners of the world you'd never notice at endgame, and gradually feeling your character grow stronger step by step. In Midnight, that experience looks more appealing than ever. The return to Eastern Kingdoms isn't just about nostalgia, it's about the journey. Leveling there has always felt less like a checklist, or more like a road you travel, one zone flowing naturally into the next. There's a quiet beauty to the Eastern Kingdoms that suits solo player incredibly well. From misty forests and rolling farmlands to battered kingdoms and forgotten ruins, the zones feel grounded, lived in, and full of history. As a solo player that matters, you're not just chasing quest markers, you're moving through places that tell stories. through the landscapes, music, and atmosphere. It's a kind of leveling experience that invites you to slow down, look around, and actually exist in the world for a while. And in 2026, going back there doesn't feel like a step backwards. It feels like World of Warcraft remembering what made its world so compelling in the first place. Not every WoW goal is about getting stronger. For a lot of solo players, some of the most satisfying progression comes from collections, transmog, and mounts. Because this is the stuff that doesn't get wiped out by a new season. With transmog, the whole
This is where player housing comes into play as well, adding another layer of collecting, where now you can collect either every single furniture that you can, just to like have the number for it, and also like based on the same thing, you get player housing experience to like skill up your player housing. You can skill up your player housing or level it up basically, and the more furniture you have, the more experience you get, the more level you get, and the more like stuff you can put into your house based on the level that you are as well. So it's basically you can work on and progress your house by adding more furniture, building more rooms, having more furniture per room, and you can collect furniture either for the number of it or for the look of the furniture that you want to have. It's basically Transmogs 2.0 or Mounts 2.0. A bunch of people collect mounts in retail, number one, either because they want certain mounts because they look cool, or number two, for the pure number, to be like, oh, I have 1,000 mounts. Same thing goes for player housing, and that's kind of cool as well. Adds another layer of collectibles in the game.
game stays relevant. Old
And it's also one of those things you can grind, and they will be relevant in the next expansion as well.
raids, dungeons, quest lines, random world drops. Suddenly, it all matters again because you're chasing a look, not a number. And once you unlock it, it's yours forever. Mount farming is the same feeling, just in a different form. It's that long-term chase, that one more run, that tiny moment of hope when the boss goes down.
Ooh,
Sometimes you get the drop quickly, sometimes it takes months. But either way, it's progress you can actually keep.
Yo, bro actually got the infinite time reaver. Yo, grats, holy.
And the reason this fits solo players so well is it's simple. It's pressure-free, no queue, no schedule, no need to be on form. You log in, set your own little mission, and make progress towards something that's genuinely permanent. A collection that builds up over time and starts to feel like your version of WoW. That's why transmog and mount farming aren't just side activities. For solo players, they're one of the best endgames the game has. So yeah, solo WoW in 2026 feels properly supported. There's a version of the game now where you can just log in, do your own thing, and still make real progress, whether that's power, story, or collections that last forever. If you enjoyed this kind of video, feel free to subscribe. I'll be covering everything Midnight and everything that makes WoW worth playing at your own pace. Drop a comment and tell me how you play World of Warcraft. Thanks for watching.
Okay, there we go. That was a good video. I'm probably more of a solo player these days myself, especially in retail. I do dabble into some raiding and I do some M+, but for the most part, I do delves. I do gold making, I level up characters, probably, if I had to like, I'm probably 80% solo player and 20% multiplayer. Especially these days when I don't even do heroic raids or mythic raids.